with mode, one of the average, right? So in previous sessions we discussed regarding mean, median. So the next average on the 5 averages is mode. The definition of mode, right? So mode is the value which occurs most frequently in a set of observations and around which there is a maximum concentration of values. It means, for example, if I just take, okay, like 2, 4, 9, 2, 7, 10, 3, and 2. Okay, so it is set of observations, right? So in this, if you just take, right, so 2 is repeated 3 number of rounds, 3 times, maximum number of times. It means 2 is the mode value, right? So it is occurring most frequently compared to the other numbers. So we say that 2 is the mode for this example. Next, the merits of mode. Right? So one of the main merits is it is easy to understand and simple to compute. It is easy because comparatively to geometric mean, there we have to make use of log, antilogs and all. Right? So we say that this is simple to understand and also easy to calculate. Next, second merit. It is not affected by abnormal extreme values, similar to mean and median, right? So if you have two extreme values, right, it is not affected much. Next, one more, third merit. It is easily calculated for open-end class intervals. So open-end previously many times I just told you, right? Either the lower limit will be missing in the first class interval, or the upper limit will be missing in the last class interval. Right? So such a class intervals, if you have open-end class intervals, then also we can calculate easily. Next, fourth one, it can be graphically formed. Means with the help of histogram. Histogram is one of the graphical presentation. Right? With the help of that, we can find the value of mode. So these are 4 merits of mode. Let me take up the demerits of mode. So one of the main demerits of mode is it is not based on all the values. Right? Means if you have a group of data, we are not taking all the values because it is most concentrated mode, right? On the number of repetition, right? Most frequently repeated value. So as we are not taking all the values in order to find the mode, so we say that it is not based on all the values. And one more, demerit. It is not stable as arithmetic mean, right? Because in any one observation, right? So immediately that repetition is little one more than the other numbers, then automatically the mode value changes, right? So it's not stable. And third point, it is not rigidly defined because sometimes you are getting bimodal, trimodal, etc. So we say that it is not rigidly defined, not well defined. Right? So these are some of the demerits of mode. Let me start with the problems on mode. Okay, just let me start with the raw data. Okay, so find mode, compute mode. Okay, the given data, the raw data. Let me take like 7, 2, 9, 14, 9, 7, 2, 7, 10, and so on. So it's a raw data. Right? So how to find the mode? So we have to observe the number of repetitions. Right? If I just take 7, right? So 7 is repeated here 1 times, here 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times. So 7 is repeated 4 number of times. And if I just take 2, 2 is repeated 1, 2, 2 times. 2 is repeated 2 times. So 9 is repeated 2 times, 14 is repeated only 1 time, 10 is repeated only 1 time. Right? So out of all these values, right, the 7 is repeated 4 number of times, maximum number of times compared to the remaining values. Therefore, mode answer, which is represented by Z. Z is nothing but mode. Right? Here it is 7. So the reason is 7 is repeated maximum number of times, 4 number of times. So mode is 7. The same way, I'll just give you one more problem. So try this. So the second problem, find mode. So the values are 20, 40, 30, 50, 40, 90, 40, 50, 40. Okay. So again, we have to go with which number is repeated maximum number of times. Based on that, we have to find the mode. Okay, here 40, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, maximum repetition is 40. So Z1 would be 40. Okay, so try this. Next problem. Okay, so find mode. We'll just take the discrete frequency distribution with x and f. If x values are like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, the frequencies. Okay, 3, 7, 20, 14, 5, and 1. Okay, so how to find the mode? So the meaning of this distribution, it means, right, 10, this number 10, this value 10 is repeated 3 times. This 20 is repeated 7 times. 30 is repeated 20 times. So it goes on. Right? So which number is repeated more number of times? We have to see the highest frequency. So in the second column, the highest frequency is 20. Right? So as 20 is the highest frequency, corresponding to that, we have to see the x value. So that becomes the mode value. So for this mode value, which is represented by Z, here it is 30. Right? So the reason is highest frequency is 20 in this example. Right? So based on that, we have to see the first column, the x value. So whatever you have, that becomes the mode value. The same way, okay? So try one more problem. The fourth problem, we can try this. So again, find mode. So here x column and f column. X values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. F values 12, 50, 74, 89, and 45. So here, just cross check which is the highest frequency. Here it will be 89, and corresponding to that, the answer, that is Z value, you will be getting 8. So try this problem. We'll move on to the next problem. Again, to find more. But this problem is of the form class interval and frequency. So when we have class interval and frequency, again the very first step, we have to check the highest frequency, the largest one. Right? So in the second column, the highest one is 54. Right? This is the maximum frequency, which is 54. So corresponding to that, I'll just mark this class, I'll just call it as a modal class. Because based on this data, I have to fill out the formula to substitute the formula. Right? So now I'll just use this formula mode equal to Z, right? Which is given by L plus Fm minus F1 by 2Fm minus F1 minus F2 into C. Right? So here, by this you came to know what is L. L is the lower limit. So in the previous session we discussed L was the lower limit of the median class. There we used to deal with the median. Right now, we are dealing with the mode. So L indicates the lower limit of the modal class. So this is the modal class. The lower limit is 60 here. So this 60 I substitute here. Next remaining M. So F indicates frequency. M is the modal, right? So frequency of the modal class. So which is the frequency of the modal class here? 54. So I just write this 54 as Fm. Okay, frequency of the modal class. Next, there you have F1. So the preceding frequency. So here preceding is 45, this becomes F1. Next, F2 there in the formula. F2 means here 40, the succeeding one corresponding to this modal. Right? So this becomes F2. So based on this, I'll just substitute the formula. So Fm is 54, I'll substitute minus F1. Here F1 is 45, and substitute dividing by 2 times Fm is 54 minus F1 is 45 minus F2 is 40 into C. So C either you can write inside the bracket or you can write outside the bracket. And if you just write outside the bracket, you can just avoid the confusion. Right? So inside or outside you can just write it. So here C indicates the width of the modal class. So here modal class is 60 to 65. So the difference 65 minus 60, we are getting 5. Right? So 5 is the width of the modal class. So substitution is over. Next we have to simplify. So this 60 I'll keep as it is to the last but one step. Just to avoid the confusion. Right? So remaining I'll just move the answers. So 54 minus 45 is 9 divided by, it is 22. 2 into 54 you work out, you'll get some answer minus 45 minus 40. So that final answer is 23 here. Okay, so into what is C? It is 5. Next, I'll keep the 60 as it is plus. So at one stretch you can just complete the simplification. So 9 divided by 23 into 5. Or you can do 9 into 5 by 23. Anyway, you can just do. So with that, the simplified value will be 1.956. Next step, I'm just going to add these two numbers. So 60 plus 1.956 becomes 61.956. So this is the way we have to calculate mode whenever you have a frequency distribution, right, with class interval and frequency. Next problem. Okay. So try this problem. You have to find more and just take the problem, class interval and frequency. With the class interval below 100. Okay. So 100 to 200, 200 to 300, 300 to 400, 400 and above. And the second column, 50, 50, 500, 555, 100, 3, 300, sorry, it's 3 here. Your 400 to 500. One more is that 500 and above. Last one has last frequency is 2. Okay, so try this problem similar to the previous one. So first identify which is the highest frequency. So here the highest frequency, the largest frequency, the maximum one is 555. So corresponding to that, so this becomes FM, this becomes F1 and this becomes F2. So substitute that formula and try to get more value. You are getting 210.78. So try this. Next problem on mode, right? We have to find mode value. Right? And compared to the previous problem, you have a small difference, right? There, we just took it as an exclusive class interval. Here, what the class interval you can find is inclusive class interval. Right? So the very first job is to convert to exclusive form. Then we have to work out the problem. So to convert here, I'll just start with the class interval and frequency for the solution. So here for all the lower limit, you are subtracting with 0.5, and for all the upper limits, you are adding with 0.5. Right? That is 0.5 is the correction factor. So 20 minus 0.5, you are getting 19.5. And here upper limit, 24 is like 24 plus 0.5, you are getting 24.5. Next, 25 is the lower limit, so 25 minus 0.5, you are getting 24.5. Up to 29 is there, plus 0.5, we are getting 29.5. So if I just go on with the same way, the next class interval will be 29.5 to 34.5, 34.5 to 39.5, 39.5 to 44.5, 44.5 to 49.5, and 49.5 to 54.5. I just converted to exclusive form. And frequencies, I'll just read in the same thing. 101, 127, 199, 230, 185, 153, and 120. Now it is similar to the previous problem, right? Again, we have to search the highest one, right? Which is the highest one here? So it is 230, right? Corresponding to that, I'll mark this as the modal class. And I'll just name it here. This is FM, this is F1, and this is F2. So once you get FM, F1, F2, and L, okay, that is, you have to write the formula and make the substitution. So here substitution, okay, the formula is on the board. L is the lower limit. Here, modular class. Of this, the lower limit is 34.5 and substitute 24.5 plus F M. The frequency is 230 here and with the substitution of 230 minus. What is F1? It is 199. The preceding frequency divided by 2 times 230 minus 199 minus what is F2 here? 185. So 185. And next is C. What is C here? So C is the width. So 29.5 minus 34.5, we are getting 5. Okay. So once you finish off this step, next is the simplification. So 34.5 plus, I'll just keep the values here. So if I just simplify this, 230 minus 199, I just take the answer directly, 14 I'll be getting. Then 2 into 230, so multiply that, minus 199 minus 185. Right? If I just do that, I'll be getting the final answer as 76. And as it is, I just take. Next, I have to simplify the second part. Okay, 31 by 76 into 5, or 31 into 5 is 76. So anyway you can do. So for that the answer will be here 2.0394. So next I'll just add up these two. Okay, you are getting 34.5394. Okay, so this is the way we had from the mole part. Next problem, find more. So this is for you people, try this one. I just give you more data. So first is the class interval, second one is the frequency. The first column is 10 to 24, 25 to 39, 39 to, 42, 54, 55 to 69, 72, 84, and the last class interval 85 to 99. Right? And second column 85 to 99. Yeah, right. The second column 6, 50, 50, 64, sorry, it is 44, 26, 3, and 1. So this is problem where it is of inclusive type. So the first job is convert to exclusive, right? So the hint is you have to convert to exclusive form. So if you do with the same thing by taking inclusive, L becomes wrong, right? With the substitution of L is wrong, the whole problem is wrong. So you have to convert to exclusive. Again here conversion minus 0.5 for the lower limits plus 0.5 for the upper limits. Like 9.5 to 24.5, 24.5 to 39.5 equals on. So once you convert, then you can just work out in order to get the move. And the answer you get is 37.5. Okay, next problem on move. Okay, you have to find more. Here, this is the given data, given problem, right? So, and all the values are of less than 5, below values, right? So, whenever below or above any type of problem, whether it is mean or median or mode, whatever it is, we have to convert to the normal form, that is exclusive class interval and frequency. So, I'll just start with the conversion class interval and frequency. As it is below values, so less than 10, I'm going to start with the class interval. I'll start with 0 to 10. So why I'm taking 0 only, not with 5 to 10, etc. We have to see the remaining here. So 10 to 20, 10 is the difference. 20 to 30, 10 is the difference. Based on that difference, I'll start with 0 to 10. Next is 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and 40 to 30. Right? We are getting 5 class intervals. Again, I should check the frequencies. So the first frequency will be as it is 5. Next, we have to change 15 minus 5. So 15 minus 5 will be 10. Next, 30 minus 15. So it will be 15. 15. Next 36 minus 30, it will be 6. Next 40 minus 36, it will be 4. Okay, so I just made a conversion here. And to cross check, if you just add up this frequency, right, and this value should be equal. So 6 plus 4, 10, so 25, 35, 40. So you are getting n as 40. It means this 40 and this 40 it is right. So the conversion of frequency is absolutely right. Next is the same way, right? So I search the highest frequency, the largest frequency. In this case, it is 15. So I take this 15 as F1 and proceeding as F1 and succeeding as F2. Okay. So with this, I'll substitute in this formula. So here, this becomes the modal mass. Right? So here 20 becomes the lower limit of the modal mass. So here L is 20. Plus Fm is 15 minus F1 is 10 divided by 2 into 15 minus 10 minus F2 is 60 into C. So C is again the difference of what we call as the width of the modal mass. So 20 to 30 is the modal mass. So 30 minus 20 which is 10. So 10 is the value of C. Again, simplify the same manner like how we have done the previous set of problems. So with that, you are getting the answer as final answer. It is 23.571. So if you simplify by simplifying, first finish on the right side part. Okay, the second term, then 20 and this part, but last but one step, add up with the 20, finally 20.57. So try this time problem. Okay. So again here we have to find more. So wages is given and the number of labor is given. And here the first column, all our incomes are below values. Below means like less than values, like what we have done in the earlier problem. Right? So below 50, below 100, etc. So convert. So here again this we have to convert in the form of exclusive class interval. So below 50 means I start with 50 to 100. Next 100 to 150. So go on this. Okay, so till 200 to 450. And change the frequencies. So like first frequency will be 2, second frequency will be 5 minus 2, 20 minus 5, 27 minus 20. Like that, change the frequencies. So you'll be getting in the form of class interval, exclusive class interval with the frequencies. Right? Continue with the same way, get F1, F1, F2, substitute, you'll be getting the answer as 130. So try this problem. Next problem. Again, we have to find more. Right? Here the values are above values. Right? So greater than 91. So greater than 2, greater than 4, 6, 8, 10. According to that, the cumulative frequencies are given. Again, the first one we have to convert in the form of class intervals. And according to that, we have to change the frequencies. So here the difference 2 to 4, focus is the difference is 2. So I start with 2 to 4. Because more than values from 2, I have to start. So 2 to 4, the same way 4 to 6, and 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. I'll stop at this because more than 10 is that 10 plus 12. Now I have to change the frequency. The first frequency is 32 minus 30, I'm getting 2. Next 30 minus 18, I'm getting 12. 18 minus 11, I'm getting 7. Next 11. That's correct. Next, I'm getting 6. Right? 11 minus 1. And last frequency will be R plus 5. So with this, again the same way we have to continue. We have to find F1. That can be the highest frequency which is F1. And here the saving is F1 and the subtracting is 2. Right? And this becomes the modal mass. Substitute the formula, the same way like previous set of problems. Your L is 4 plus F1 is 12 minus F1 is 2 divided by 2 into 12 minus 2 minus F2 is 7 into C. So C is here the bit 6 minus 4. Right? It is 2. Right? It is plus 2. Again, simplify like the previous examples. The final answer is getting 5.333. So this will be the final answer. Just continue it under one of these steps. Next one problem, just try this and just write the given problem. So the first problem is the wages, which is expressed in rupees, and second column is the number of laborers. And the first column, all the values are above 5. The above is greater than. Here the values are 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600. Okay, all are above values. And next second column, you have 55, and 50, 30, 20, 8, and last one is 3. Again, convert in the form of explosive and then one off. So your field is convert in the form of explosive class interval. The first class interval will be 100 to 200. Next 200 to 300. So it goes on and change the frequencies, then therefore we get the answer as 260. Let me know the next concept, that is empirical relation. Right? We can just create an empirical relation between mean, median, and mean, right? Which is given by z equal to 3m minus 2x bar. Or we can write as mode equal to 3 times median minus 2 times the mean. So let us take an example. Let us start with skewed distribution. If mean is 40 and median is 43, find mode using empirical relation. So I'll just use this formula. So z equal to 3m minus 2x bar. Okay, I'll just substitute. So 3 times the median, which is 43 given, minus 2 times mean is 40 given, and substitute. So that's 3 into 43, I had to simplify. So 3 into 43, it becomes 129. Minus 2 into 40 is 80. So I will be getting the final if I subtract. I will be getting 99. Right? So this is the way we can find mode using empirical relation. Median and mean are known. Next one. So try this problem similar to the previous one. So your mean is 60 and median is 65. Again substitute in this formula. Finally, we get the mean as 75. So try this. Next problem. Right? So in this problem, right, for skewed distribution, if mode is 20 and median is 24, we have to find mean. Again, I use the same empirical relation. Right? So if I just use this empirical relation, okay, I'll just make a substitution. What is z here? Right? So z is given as z is mode, which is 20, equal to 3 times. What is median here? It is 24 minus 2 times mean. Right? So our job is to find mean. So I'll complete this one. 20 equal to 3 into 24 is 72 minus 2 into x bar. Next. So either I can shift x bar left side or I can shift the number left side. I'll shift x bar to left side. I'll be getting 2x bar. If minus becomes plus, I just change right to left hand side. Plus 20 as it is. At one half second shift, but I just show 2 steps. Okay. Next step, 2x bar equal to 72. So 20 I am shifting to the right side. So it becomes minus 20. So 72 minus 20, you are getting, I just carry your 2x bar equal to 72 minus 20 is there. And therefore 2x bar equal to 72 minus 20 is 52. Therefore x bar is 52 by 2. Okay, we are getting 26. So x bar is 26. We can find this by using empirical relation. Next problem, similar to the previous one, is this. So try this. Okay. Here also mode is given as 100, median is 80, then find mean. Again use this relation, so you get the answer as 5. Right? So use the empirical relation. One more problem similar to the previous one, but a small change. Here mean is given as 24.6 and mode is given as 26.1. Here our job is to find the median using empirical relation. Again use the same empirical relation, make the substitution. And here mode is 26.1 equal to 3 times median we have to find, just keep as it is, minus 2 times mean is 24.6. So first step is substitution. Let's start simplify. 36.1 equal to 3 n minus 2 into 24.6. We are getting 49.2. Next step. Okay, this will shift to the left hand side. Okay, it becomes 26.1 plus 49.2 equal to 3 n. So if I add up these two numbers on the left hand side, I will get 75.3. If I add up these two numbers equal to 3n. Therefore, n equal to 75.3 divided by 3. I will get the answer as 25.1. So this is the way to get value. Either you can find mean or median or more according to the quantity. So one more problem. Okay, so you can try this. Here mean is given and mode is given. You have to find median. Again, substitute in this formula. So finally, when you simplify, you have to mean, sorry, median